What up, YouTube? T-Movies here. As I was saying, with the new film 7500 out on Amazon now, I decided, since the film does return star Joseph Gordon-Levitt back to the silver. Well, not really the big screen because it's coming to Amazon, but this is actually his first feature since the 2016 film Snowden, which was not so good. But anyway, that aside, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Joseph Gordon-Levitt movies because he's actually been acting since he was since very young. I mean, I believe he was in Agents of the Outfield, if I'm not mistaken. He had his big start on Third Rock from the Sun. He's been in some really solid stuff. I mean, he's done comedy, he's done drama, he's done some action, sci-fi, and no, he was not Robin either. Just a shout out there. But anyway, with that being said, here's my 10 favorite Joseph Gordon-Levitt movies. All right. Bring in number 10. I'm gonna go with Ryan Johnson's film Breck. Now, of course, when you think of Ryan Johnson now, you automatically go ahead and think of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And lots of people think, because of The Last Jedi, lots of people think that Ryan Johnson is just a horrible director because I bet they've only seen The Last Jedi. Ryan Johnson has directed some other solid stuff, and he's worked with Joseph Gordon-Levitt a couple of times. I'm trying to remember. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt even portrayed a stormtrooper in The Last Jedi. I'm trying to remember. I gotta double check that, but I'm pretty sure he played he appeared in this as a stormtrooper. But he also appeared in Ryan Johnson's other film, The Lookout, which was pretty decent. But years before that, he appeared in this movie called Breck. Breck is actually the film that really put Ryan Johnson on the map, and it's a shame that most people still haven't seen most of Ryan Johnson's other work outside The Last Jedi, because Ryan Johnson he's a tremendous filmmaker. If you guys never really seen Breck, here's what it's about. It's where after receiving this frantic phone call from his ex-girlfriend, you got this teenage loner named Brandon Fry, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who learns that her dead body has been found. So he's trying to solve her murder himself. And you also got Lucas Haas, who plays this drug dealer. You got Megan Good is in this. It's a really you got Emily D. Raven is in this one. Of course, she's best known for Lost. This movie is terrific. This movie will leave you guessing from beginning to end. It's a very interesting murder mystery based film. It has some great performances by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, by loads of the other cast. It's a really solid one. I mean, if you guys have never really seen Brick by now, do yourself a favor, go check out Brick. It's a really terrific one. Alright. Coming in... Oh, let me go drink first. Alright. Coming in at number 9, I'm going to go with this film called Mysterious Skin. Alright. Mysterious Skin, stars Greg Erikai, who is a very odd, weird director, but he makes some pretty solid stuff. In the film, it's about, it delves into the harrowing aftermath of sexual abuse, and it follows the struggling of two teens played by Gordon-Levitt and Bradley Corbett, who comes to grip with the action of an emotionally disturbed baseball coach played by Bill Sage. And so Brian Leckie, was trying to discover what happened during an amnesia blackout when he was only 8 years old. And then later he woke up with a bloody nose, and so so he ends up believing. And there's scenes where he ends up believing that he was abducted by aliens. I mean, this is a crazy, interesting teen drama, but it's actually pretty solid. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was amazing. Greg Erikai, he's made some weird films, but he did a pretty decent job with this. Gordon-Levitt and and Bradley Corbett both had pretty decent chemistry with one another. If you guys have not seen Mysterious Skin yet, it's a pretty decent one. Alright, coming in at number 8, I'm going to go with the film Premium Rush. Now, this film stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt as this New York bike messenger named Willie, who is very good at his job. He dodges speeding cars, he evades crazy cab drivers, and so he has to deliver this. He ends up having a delivery that is so vulnerable that you got this corrupt detective played by Michael Shannon who needs the money. So he begins chasing Willie throughout the stage to get it before the envelope is delivered. You also got Danaya Ramirez is in this. It's awesome. Premium Rush is really a film that does not get talked about much. It's directed by David Kiop, who also has that new movie, You Should Have Left, with Kevin Bacon, that's out on VOD now. Premium Rush is just really fun. It's entertaining. I'm not much of a bike rider, so you'll never see me ride a bike throughout New York City, but holy cow, the bike scenes was pretty cool to watch. I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt does some crazy wheelies in this. He dodge I mean, come on, he really dodges speeding cars. I mean, what he ate, what the stunts that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was able to do in this film was very cool to watch. And yeah, if you get, not to mention, Jamie Chung is also in this, so there's that too. But holy cow, if you guys have not seen Premium Rush, it got released in 2012, which I think is actually the best year of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's career. Seriously. I got a couple of 2012 movies in this list, but yeah, if you guys never really seen Premium Rush by now, do yourself a favor, go check it out. It's a really cool flick. Alright. Coming in at number 7, speaking of films that came out in 2012, The Dark Knight Rises. Now, of course, here you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt as this young cop who just might become the next, who rumor has it might become the next Dark Knight. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. Now, I'm gonna spoil some stuff in The Dark Knight Rises, okay? But the film's been out since 2012, so if you guys have still not seen The Dark Knight Rises, you have no intentions on seeing it. So, here's the spoiler. It turns out Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character's name is Robin. Because remember in the end when he's package to go to an airport and the lady ends up saying, Robin, that's a nice name for you. Ever since then, lots of people still keep on insisting that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was Robin. Spoiler: Christopher Nolan literally always said that, a couple of times said that that was just a nod to the character. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was not Robin. If they were to do another Batman movie by Christopher Nolan, I don't know, who knows if they'll actually have him as a character, but he was not Robin, people. But that aside, I quite like Dark Knight Rises. Was it as good as The Dark Knight? Obviously not. But you had Tom Hardy as Bane, was terrific. Come on. The scenes with Joseph Gordon-Levitt was pretty cool. He played this cop very well, and he was very likable. I know he was terrific. If you guys still have not seen The Dark Knight Rises, it's actually pretty decent. Lots of people probably call it the weakest out of the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogies, but I really still got a kick out of it. I saw the movie twice when it got released, and it's a really decent flick. Number 6, I'm going to go with 50-50. Now, this is, of course, a comedy that stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen. And in it, you've got Levitt, who plays this young man named David Lerner, who has always tried to take good care of his health. He doesn't really smoke or anything. But it turns out he ends up having cancer. And he gives him a 50-50 chance of survival. And you got lots of support from him. You got Angelica Houston, who portrays his mother. You got Seth Rogen, who portrays his bubbling best friend. It's directed by Jonathan Levine, who's a pretty decent filmmaker. Jonathan Levine actually worked with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen a couple of He actually worked with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt on that movie The Night Before, which I loved The Night Before. But 50-50, it is it's very hard to do like a comedy about cancer because that's not funny at all. But what they were able to do, have some, this is not like a full-on comedy. It is very dramatic because obviously it is very hard to do a very, intentionally comedy about someone dying from cancer. But I thought what they were able to do with this was pretty decent. Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, those two had some really solid chemistry with one another. Speaking of, if you guys are ever in New York City and you want to come to this bar called the Flying, not going to pronounce, not going to repeat it, but it rhymes with clock. Try some, some Disney princesses and Flying Nemos. They're literally drink like alcoholic drinks. Just want to throw that out there. Anywho, back to 50-50. That movie is really solid, and the film got released in 2011, and it doesn't really get talked about a whole lot. If you guys never seen 50-50 by now, definitely give that one a shot. Alright. Coming in at number 5, I'm going to go with Joseph Gordon. Actually, I'm up this up because we all passed by. Anyway, coming in at number 5, I'm going to go with the film Don John. Now, this is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's directorial debut. It's a shame that he has not directed another film since. But here, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, plays this guy from New Jersey, named John, who is very addicted to porn, but he ends up, falling for this, for this, for this woman named Barbara, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's actually a pretty solid film. It also stars. You got Brie Larson's in this. He ends up having even a tension with his college professor, played by Julianne Moore. You got the late Glenn Headley is in this. Tony Danza is in this one. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool seeing Tony Danza in this flick. You also got Rob Brown. You even had cameos by Anne Hathaway and Channing Tatum. Don John is a film that does not get much love. If for some ever reason you've never seen Don John, go watch Don John. It is a funny flick. I believe it got released in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. It's another film that rarely gets talked about, but it's a really solid one. Alright. Coming in at number 4, speaking of, this movie is actually going to have its re-release on July 17th, so mark your calendars for that. Number 4, I'm going to go with Inception. Of course, another film that Joseph Gordon-Levitt starred in that's directed by Christopher Nolan. This is, of course, the film about a dream within a dream, starring Leo DiCaprio, Ellen Page, Michael Caine, Tom Hardy. It's awesome. It is very confusing. I would go on and admit that is a very confusing film, but you'll probably still get into it. I mean, here you. Of course, you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who portrays, his partner in the high-tech corporate espionage, and it's a very rare opportunity for Joseph Gordon-Levitt to play with choreographed stunt with some really cool, effects. I mean, the choreography in this, I love the choreography in this film. It is really cool. The special effects are decent. I just really adore this film. It's crazy to believe in July this film turns 10 years old. I mean, holy cow, I'm feeling old right now. By the way, I just turned 28 yesterday, and boy, I'm feeling really, really old. Just think about Inception turning 28, 10. Holy cow. But anyway, Inception is just a really good one. If you guys haven't really seen Inception by now, definitely go give it a watch. Coming in at number 3, I'm going to go with Looper. Now, this is another film that got released in 2012 that stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And Looper is terrific. It's another film that was directed by Rian Johnson, who, like I said, gave us The Last Jedi. But in it, it's a futuristic action thriller, and it's a time travel film. You got Joseph Gordon-Levitt who is like waiting to mop up, and he ends up getting sent back to time to literally. And you got Bruce Willis's character who ends up being sent sent from the future to really assassinate his younger self, played by. So you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing like the younger version of Bruce Willis, which is pretty cool. I mean, who could ever imagine Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing like a younger version of Bruce Willis? I mean, they're already talking about doing like a Die Hard prequel with a young John McClane. I have an idea. Get Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a young John McClane, because after seeing Looper, I could totally see Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing a young version of Bruce Willis. Either he did a great job as Thoreau, he was very cool as his character. You also got a few other cool cast members, like you got Emily Blunt was in this. You've got loads of other cool folks. I believe Piper Perabo is also in this film too. It's a really decent one. If you guys never really seen Looper by now, go check out Looper. It's a really fun flick. A really cool time travel flick too. Like, who does not love a good time travel element? Alright, number 2, I'm going to go with The Walk. Now, this is a film that was directed by Robert Zemeckis, and The Walk, I saw this film in theaters, and I saw it in IMAX theaters back in 2015. This is a very trippy film. It is based on a documentary called Man on Wire. And if you guys don't know, you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt who portrays this guy named Philippe Petit, who as an adult, his life's ambition comes true when he becomes a high wiring artist, and he decides to pull off the most unbelievable stunt, impossible stunt of August 7th, 1974. He decides to tightrope walk to the north and south towers of the World Trade Center, and I thought that guy was nuts. I mean, he literally tried to walk towards the tightrope above the World Trade Center. I'm like, how could you do that, Pop? Like, it is based on a documentary, and the documentary is pretty decent. If you guys ever seen Man on Wire, it's pretty cool. But man, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the stunt he was able to pull off in this was awesome. Either he gave a really decent performance. You also had Sir Ben Kingsley was in this. He did a good job. The film was just a really treat. If you guys have never really seen, The Walk by now, like I said, I saw it in IMAX 3D, and it's a fun flick to watch. Definitely go check the film out if you guys never seen it. Alright, my number 1 favorite Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie. Alright, the best Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie there is, it's obviously Mark Webb's film, 500 Days of Summer. This is one of the best romantic comedies of the late 2000s. In it, you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt who portrays Tom, who is this green card writer and hopeless romantic who is completely caught off guard when his girlfriend, Summer, played by Zoe Deschanel, suddenly dumps him, and he ends up reflecting on their 500 days together to try to figure out where their love affair went sour, and in doing so, Tom ends up discovering his true passions of life. And like I said, it is directed by Mark Webb, who also went on to direct the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zoe Deschanel both had really solid chemistry with one another. You also had some other cast members in this, like you had a very young Chloe Moretz was in this one. It's a really the dance there's a musical number in this that is really iconic to watch. Who knew that Joseph Gordon-Levitt could sing? I mean, he has been he has actually been attached to direct to appear in a couple of musicals. Like there was like talks about like him doing a Guys and Dolls remake. There was even talks about him doing like this R-rated musical with Channing Tatum, I believe. So it's a shame that he hasn't really done any other like musicals, because who knew Joseph Gordon-Levitt had music talent? I knew he had good acting talent, but music talent I never really knew he fully had. But man, 500 Days is a really solid one. If you guys have not really seen 500 Days of Summer by now, go check it out. It's a really decent romantic flick. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the rundown. 10 Brick, 9 Mysterious Skin, 8 Premium Rush, 7 The Dark Knight Rises, 6 50-50, 5 Don John, 4 Inception, 3 Looper, 2 The Walk, and number 1 500 Days of Summer. Now, he's been in loads of other good stuff like, let me pull up his acting credit. He was in this really good movie a couple years back called Hesher. That was a pretty decent one. Let's see. He was also in Snowden, but that was not so good. Let's see. What else? Oh yeah, he was in Angels of the Outfield. That's a pretty decent one. That also had Tony Danza in it. Night Before, that Christmas R.A. comedy with Seth Rogen and Anthony Mackie. That was a pretty good one. What else we got here? He was in a movie called Woman in Trouble. He was in Lincoln. Remember, he was in 10 Things I Hate About You. He was in The Juror. Stop Loss, which also had Channing Tatum. He appeared in that movie, that Anne Hathaway movie, Havoc, which also featured Channing Tatum in it. He was in Sin City, Danger Killful, which I did not mind. He was in The Lookout, speaking of Ryan Johnson. Yeah, he's been in some pretty solid stuff over the years. He was in the first G.I. Joe movie. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite Joseph Gordon-Levitt movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is T Movies signing off.